During early fetal development, the vaginal structure does not begin as an open passage. Instead, it initially forms as a solid cord of tissue. Over time, the body undergoes a natural biological process known as canalization. This process gradually creates a hollow space within that tissue, forming what will become the vaginal canal. As development continues, the lower end of this canal approaches the external surface of the body. At this junction, a thin, flexible layer of mucosal tissue remains. This tissue partially surrounds or covers the vaginal opening and is known as the hymen. It is a normal anatomical structure present in many individuals at birth. The hymen is often misunderstood as being uniform in appearance, but medical science shows that this is not the case. In reality, hymenal shapes vary widely from person to person. Some of the commonly described forms include annular, ring-shaped, crescentic, septate, cribriform, microperforate, and imperforate hymens. Among these, the annular and crescentic types are considered typical anatomical variations and usually do not cause any health issues. However, certain less common variations, such as septate or imperforate hymens, may sometimes interfere with normal menstrual flow or create discomfort, which is why medical evaluation may be recommended in those cases. The annular, or ring-shaped hymen, is one of the most commonly observed forms. In this variation, the tissue forms a soft ring around the vaginal opening, with a central opening that allows menstrual blood to pass naturally after puberty. Even within this category, there is significant natural variation. The ring may appear thin or thick, the opening may be relatively small or wider, and the edges can be smooth or slightly folded. These differences are completely normal and reflect natural biological diversity. One of the most misunderstood aspects of the hymen is its elasticity. Many people believe that it must break during penetration, but this is not always biologically accurate. The hymen is composed of connective tissue that contains elastic fibers and small blood vessels. Because of this structure, it can stretch and adapt rather than tear completely. Hormones, especially estrogen, play a key role in this flexibility. Higher estrogen levels make the tissue thicker, softer, and more elastic. In many cases, the central opening of a ring-shaped hymen can stretch during physical activity or penetration and then return close to its original form afterward. In some situations, small and minor tears may occur along the edges of the hymenal tissue. These are usually minimal and often heal naturally over time without any medical intervention. It is also important to understand that everyday activities, such as sports, tampon use, or physical movement, can influence the hymen's appearance. Therefore, its condition cannot reliably indicate any specific life event or experience. During vaginal childbirth, the body undergoes extreme stretching as the baby passes through the birth canal. This process typically causes the hymenal tissue to stretch significantly and often results in tearing. After healing, the hymen usually does not remain as a complete ring, but instead appears as small, soft, irregular folds around the vaginal opening. However, if a person gives birth via cesarean section, the hymenal tissue may remain closer to its pre-pregnancy form. The hymen is not a fixed structure. It changes throughout life under the influence of hormones. In newborns, the hymen may appear thicker and more prominent due to the presence of maternal estrogen. As these hormone levels decrease after birth, the tissue becomes thinner, smoother, and more delicate during early childhood. At puberty, rising estrogen levels once again cause the hymen to thicken and become more elastic, preparing the body for menstruation and reproductive maturity. Later in life, especially after menopause, estrogen levels decline. As a result, the hymen and surrounding tissues may become thinner, drier, and less elastic, similar to what is observed in early childhood. Even in adulthood, the hymen often does not disappear completely. Instead, it remains as small folds of tissue around the vaginal opening, which is entirely normal. For centuries, the hymen has been surrounded by cultural myths and misconceptions. However, from a medical perspective, it is simply a natural and variable part of human anatomy. Its shape, appearance, or condition does not define a person's history, experiences, or value. Understanding the science behind it helps replace misinformation with accurate, respectful knowledge about the human body.